Hey guys, I'm Angelina. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you for clicking this video. So today I hope to share with you my tips and tricks for babysitting, and I'm hoping to make this into a series, but today I will be covering everything you need to know to land a job or a few jobs. So I have been babysitting for about half a year now. I mean, I have my own little siblings that I've been babysitting for years, but officially, like as a job to get compensation, I've only been doing it for half a year. These are the things I learned. Trust me, it was a lot of trial and error. But let's start with number one, how to land a job. So my go-to is Facebook. I live in a pretty big town. So we have like a whole Facebook group for our town and surrounding like little towns, so it's been really great to find jobs. So I would recommend using Facebook or social media. You could probably even do like LinkedIn. I'm not sure if you would want to advertise on your Instagram, on your personal, or if you want to, like, if you're really serious about it, I don't know, you could even gather a few friends, and maybe do your own like Instagram and just, you know, post like advertisements, I would say. But you have to be careful with that because it can't be like you're running a daycare, because you need to get licensed for that. So Facebook is my go-to. I mean, if you have family, like your relatives, like say like your aunt needs help babysitting, or even like your parents' friends, if they have kids, that's a great way to have like a ready-made connection. And you can start babysitting there, especially if you're just starting out. You could probably even babysit like your friends' siblings. I mean, if they need it. I have a friend who drives like one of our mutual friends' younger siblings around to different activities. So that's also like, you don't need to feel like you're stuck. You can always look into these kind of things. So I know for like gated communities, they have like their own like sort of like ad, and people like ask for babysitters, or babysitters post ads, so you can also look into that. Just posting ads. I don't even know, there are some businesses that let you like print your own business cards, or like put up a flyer on like a bulletin board, so you could always do that. But Facebook has been my go-to without a doubt. Number two, you need to build a profile. So especially for Facebook, I mean, like, you, for your own profile, I would say doing like a profile photo, maybe a few photos of yourself, like doing various things, because like as a parent, you need to know that you're going to be able to trust bringing someone into your house and caring for your children, especially with like valuables there or anything like that. So I have come across like a few parents that make you submit a resume. I haven't had to do that. I just kind of, I don't know. I mean, personally, I do understand that some parents like really want to go in debt and do like a ton of research on you, background checks. If they ask for them, I would just do it. I mean, it's just, I feel like if you say no, you're kind of you might give off the impression that you're hiding something. But I mean, for any job, I mean, if they do a background check, like, you should just agree to it. What else? Okay. So building a profile, all it does is like build trust. So say you join a Facebook group for like nannies and babysitters in the town you're in. So you can always, like, moms will post things and you can be like, oh, I'm available, I'll PM you, and then tell them about yourself in the private message. Or you can make your own post and have the moms reach out to you. So either way, if you're gonna like apply for a gig or, you know, just a job, Or if you do your own, you want to start by telling them about yourself. So this is going to look something like this, like, hi, I'm Angelina. I'm in my first year of college, and if you go to a local one, like, you can totally say what it is, but be like, I've had experience with kids, like, I work with them, like, in my day job, you know, and this is where you would, like, be like, oh, I've had, like, if you've had, like, 6 years experience, that's amazing, but it is competition for real, guys. So yeah, you tell them a little bit about yourself, be like, I'm available, like, Saturdays, and I would love to help your family out. Stuff like that. Be like, I look forward to hearing from you. So when you say something like that, it pushes them forward to not just ignore you, to sort of respond, especially if you're applying to a job, even if it is a no. So dealing with rejection, I've had some moms reach out to me and schedule an interview, and turns out they're interviewing like a bunch of people, and then I'll contact them to confirm about an interview, and they'll be like, oh, sorry, we already found a sitter. So communication is key. I mean, if you're a mom and you have an interview, like someone is coming to your house to be interviewed for a job and you already filled it, it is your job to tell them that. I mean, because that appointment is probably on their schedule, and they might, you know, it might stop them from getting other babysitting jobs. So now, let's talk about pay. I'm gonna write something down to talk to you guys about at the end. Alright, pay. So when I was first starting out, my first job, it was as a mother's helper. It wasn't as a babysitter. So I sort of, you know, I contacted the mom and I was like, oh, like, I would love to help you out with your kids. And she's like, this is for a mother's helper. And since it was my first job, I was just starting out, like, I had no idea what that was. I kind of thought that I would, like, just be in the house, you know, and help her out, care for her kids. But it turned out to be more of, like, being, like, a maid and cleaning. So there are various types. I mean, somehow that falls into childcare. But in my opinion, this mom could have hired a cleaning service for all that she, like, wanted me to do alone in, like, a 2-hour period. Since it was my first job, she said that she would only pay $10 an hour, and I almost had to fight her to get 12. And then she wanted to go back to 10 and expect me to drive so far to reach her. So I had this job over the summer, and I'd have to drive half an hour there, work for 2 hours, make $20, drive half an hour back. So it was like an hour of driving, like 2 hours of working. And when school started, it was like half an hour driving there, working for like 2 hours, then driving like 50 minutes to my college. So it was just like way out of my route that I was taking. But I felt an obligation to continue working for this lady and for this family. So another thing I want to talk about before we continue with pay is obligation. I would say that you shouldn't feel an obligation to keep working for somebody. Babysitting or anything in that realm is like a two-way street, you know. The employer and the family has to be happy with you, and you have to feel comfortable working with them, especially like if you're creeped out by them, by all means quit. Like, I mean, there's so many other babysitting jobs out there. You don't have to feel obligated to stay with them. I had this one job, and it was for this sweet mom and her 2 kids. They did have disabilities. But it was like driving. I live near Chicago. I live like, I would say up to like an hour away from the city, you know, like in the suburbs. So every time she had like a commitment down there, and I would have to drive with them for like you know, an hour there, stay there for like 3 hours, drive an hour back. Now for me, it wasn't the most ideal situation because I am a college student. I couldn't really do schoolwork. The kids needed like constant attention. They were really sweet and I loved working for them, but it wasn't like the most ideal situation or job that I would have liked to be in. Yeah. So let's see what else we have here. So I mean, if you're in a situation and you think it just doesn't fit into your schedule or you don't enjoy anymore, then even if you like made a commitment for half a year, I would try to see like what you can do with your schedule, if you can help them out like every now and then, or if you don't feel safe, or if you just totally don't like it, don't feel an obligation to stay. I mean, you could always wait it out until like the end of like the few months, or usually they do it in like school year terms, like, you know, from summer to winter break and then winter to summer. But you shouldn't feel an obligation to stay if things aren't working out, because like I said, family has to be happy with you, you have to be happy with them. So pay. So the first story I shared, the lady sort of decided to pay for me, and since it was my first job, I agreed. Now that I have more experience, you can decide how much you want to charge. I mean, this isn't like an official like employee or like an office workspace. You can decide how much you want to charge. It all depends on how many kids there are. Now, I would say if you're doing babies, I would charge about like 12 or 13 an hour, since they need constant attention, constant stimulation. They either need to be fed, or, you know, like they just cry a lot. You constantly have to have your attention on them. And I mean, if the family or like the baby is super close to you, like 5 or 10 minutes away, you can totally charge 12. If they're like half an hour away, charge 13, because you can use that extra dollar for gas money. So usually for like 2 kids, I've been charging 12. And of course, I mean, if they have like a with disability, it's tricky. It depends like how much attention they actually need. If they're self-sufficient, you know, like don't be charging more just because they have a disability. But if it's like, you know, constant feeding, like changing a diaper if they're older, or if they constantly need to be washed and like, you know, kept safe, then you can totally charge 13, especially if they have like a sibling that you're gonna watch alongside them. And now obviously if it's like 3 kids, or, you know, you can charge like 13, 14. It all depends on where you live. Like if you live in a richer community, you can even get away with charging 15. Some people charge like $17 an hour. I honestly think that is too much. I think 12, 13, up to 15, I think that's fair. It's all about you. Depends how far away they are, how many kids, and how much attention that they require. And you also have to consider some families have different financial situations. Like one of the moms that I babysat for, she had 2 kids with disabilities, but with her financial situation, she could only pay 12 an hour. And that was okay. Like I personally, you know, I was happy to babysit for them. But it all depends on what they can pay, and that's a conversation you need to have with the mom or the family or even the dad employing you. Let's see what else we have. So I would say you have to build a schedule. You have to really look at your schedule. When I was doing babysitting this past half year, I was saving up for a trip to Florida. So I was babysitting literally any free chunk of time that I had. Now this semester, since I got back, I'm going to be going to college. Well, I was going to college, but you know what I mean, I'm gonna be going to college again, and I want to focus on college more, so I might not be babysitting that much. And I also have a day job as a swim instructor, and I'll make like a separate video on that. But also, I would say shoot for bigger chunks of time because of travel. So before, when I was babysitting, I would maybe babysit like an hour or two there, like 4 hours there, you know, blah blah blah, stuff like that. If, like I said, with the first lady that I was a mother's helper, I was driving like half an hour there to only work 2 hours and then drive like 50 minutes to my school. That's almost like an hour and a half of driving, well, like an hour and 20 minutes, and then only working for 2 hours. Is it really worth it with like gas? I mean, if you're desperate for money, then, you know, by all means do it, but from my experience, it was difficult. Like I said, if they're like 5 minutes away, by all means do like hour, half hour, 2 hours, whatever, you know? Just if you're traveling like 15 or more minutes, do like 3, 4, 6 hours, you know, like a date night kind of chunk of time, you know. You really have to make sure things fit into your schedule, and you have to allow for travel time. There will always be traffic, know that, and keep that in mind. So, like I briefly touched upon, there are different types of babysitting. Like I said, there's mother's helper, where you will most likely be doing things like laundry, cleaning, beds, vacuuming, you know, dusting, stuff like that. Some other helpers are stay-at-home moms that also work. So, a lot of the times, like, they want to get things done around the house, or they're working on their business and they want you to occupy their kids. So I've had a few of those, and they can be tricky because it's like in those situations you have some authority, but you don't have like the only authority. Like if you're alone with the kids, if the parents have left the house, like they know that you are fully in charge, you know. And if, you know, they're not being safe or they're doing something, you can like tell them to stop, like different ways that you can interact with them. And I will make a video touching more upon this. But like I said, if the parent is home, they expect you to like occupy them, but more likely than not, the child will like run and bother the parent, and you can't like hold them down, right? Because they will scream. So those situations can be tricky, and it can be hard to do those kind of things, you know, for a longer period of time, being like a mother's helper while the parent is at home. But I mean, if you're comfortable with that, if you think you have the skill set, then by all means, go ahead. So babysitting is different than nannying. So I don't have like the literal definitions in front of me. This is just like how I take it. So nannying, I mean, there's things like live-in nanny, where you actually like live there and you work, and you might get like less money because you have like a bed. So things like this like may be good in college, but you also may not be comfortable like living with a family. So you have to keep things like this in mind. So nannying, usually it's like kind of like morning help, get the kids to school, and then the parent might expect you to like clean the house like while they're at school. You pick them up and you stay until the evening, until the parents come home, or then you even stay longer and like help with bath time, bedtime, you know, like while the parent is winding down. So that is more like what a nanny does. It's a longer period of time, usually almost the whole day. So what a babysitter is like shorter chunks of time. Like you could have like a before school babysitter, after school babysitter. Some families have different ones for certain times of day. So it's important to know the difference. Like I didn't know what a mother's helper would entail, and I found out the hard way. So yeah, just stuff like that. And if you do think that you're being mistreated by who you're working for. I mean, if it's like very serious, you can report it, but if it's just like a little problem, I would just talk to them. And remember, you have no obligation to stay in a job that you don't like. That would be like my biggest problem. I would be like, oh, I can just hold out a little longer. I can just like give this parent like another shot, you know. But if you're unhappy, like you're not going to be performing your best, right? So these are things to keep in mind. So remember, we talked about how to land a job. My preferred method is Facebook. You have to let them know about you for trust. Build a profile. Don't just be like an empty icon being like, hey, I'd like to babysit your kids. Because that's creepy. Don't do that. Let them know that they can trust you. So pay, remember, you can decide, but also keep in mind different financial situations. Don't be scared to talk about them. For pay, keep in mind kids. If some like are self-sufficient, or some might need like special attention, and also mileage. You don't have to, like, I haven't seen anyone charge for mileage, but if you are like pricing your overall pay per hour, I would do that. And then shoot for bigger chunks of time, babysitting because of travel. Build your schedule, know your schedule, feel no obligation, and know that there are different types and know what you are signing up for. So, along with pay, there are also different ways to get paid. I would recommend downloading PayPal, Venmo, Cash App. I don't think anyone has paid me through Cash App, but I have it. And I also take cash. But like doing PayPal and Venmo is super easy because you can just transfer it to your bank and not have to worry about it. I did go to a babysitting job where I offer them both PayPal and Venmo, but they just didn't feel comfortable using it, so they decided to keep paying me with cash, and it was no biggie. And also like checks, stuff like that. Like, I guess my point is just download various types of money transfer to help you out, because sometimes the parent might wait until the very end and be like, oh hey, like, do you have Venmo? Like, I don't have cash with me. And then like, what are you gonna do, spend half an hour downloading it? So just have like the basic ones, and I mean, if it's very like rare, like Cash App or Zelle, I don't even know, like, you don't have to download every single one, but the most common types are PayPal and Venmo. So keep that in mind. I hope this video really helped you guys out. It was fun filming it. Hope you gained something from it, and I will do like a series sort of on like tips and tricks, little hacks, like while you're actually babysitting, like getting kids to bed, stuff like that, playing like little games. So keep an eye out for those, and if you like this video, please subscribe. I'm just starting out, and your support means the world to me. Thank you so much. Like, comment, like if you've had an interesting babysitting story, or if you ever felt an obligation to stay with the family, or if you have any questions, you can always email me. You can comment down below and I'll be sure to answer. Make sure to follow me on Instagram at Sunset247. Thank you so much, guys. Yeah. Alright, thank you. Bye.